Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Shamira from English Literature Study Program. And on this video, I will discuss about multiple personalities, childhood unresolved conflicts and trauma in Clarks all around the town. And this presentation is based on the article written by Ibu Fatma Hitami. The first, we have to know about the abstract of this article because this paper describe how multiple personalities as the unresolved childhood conflict and trauma are revealed in Clarks all around the town. It is based on the assumption that any work of literature always deals with human life in terms of personality structure and psychological condition. The result indicate that as a character, Laurie Canyon is round and developing. The second is about the introduction of this article is in work of literature such as novels, dramas, or short story, characters are described as if they are alive. Based on Carroll, he mentioned that the novel is not properly a depiction of human beings, but an attempt to picture them as they are and to interpret them. Interpreting characters' behavior and personality in novels is not such an easy thing to do because, as in a real life, we live in a society which socializing with people is a must. And for gaining a successful relationship with others, we have to be able to recognize them well in details. In Clark's All Around the Town, for example, the main character, Laurie Canyon, is very interesting to discuss because she does not only give us a surprising plot, but also a complex personality, which then develop into multiple ones. In line with this discussion, this paper is aimed at finding out how the multiple personality as the unresolved childhood conflict and trauma is revealed in Clark's all around the town. The theory that the writer used is by using psychoanalytic criticism, characters' behavior in literary works can be observed and interpreted in detail by using this theory. Because psychoanalysis is a part of study area of psychological literature. As stated by Wright, there are three main concepts of psychoanalytic theory. The first is the model of the psyche, the second is the concept of repression, and the last is the role of sexual instincts. They all have their own nature and place in Freud's theory of unconscious. The first is about the model of psyche. According to Freud in Wardoyo, there are three distinct agencies of human's mind. They are ID, ego, and superego. And the second is the concept of repression. With the appearance of these three agencies, the picture of conflict becomes clearer. The idea wants its pleasure fulfilled, whether or not they are compatible with external demand. The ego finds itself threatened by the pressure of the unacceptable wishes. And the third is the role of sexual instinct. Repression or forces find representation in mind. The instinct, either sexual or self-preservation, have bound to thoughts and image in the course of early experiences. However, the sexual instinct plays a major role in physical conflict precisely because it is always opposed by another instinct. Freud developed the sexual instinct into Oedipal fantasy. They are Oedipus and Electra complex. There are three psychological symptoms indicating the existence of unconscious mind. They are misbehavior symptoms such as misreading and mishearing, dream symptom, and neurotic symptom, which the last one is caused by the collision of unconscious motivation and the conscious mind. Next is the method that the writer used is by libraries research was used. By using this method, the main data clerks all around the town was analyzed. Psychological approach will certainly make the discussion clearer. It is due to the assumption that literary work has a strong relationship with human life. By using such this approach, multiple personalities such as the unresolved childhood conflict and trauma experienced by Laurie Kenyon can be revealed. The next is the important part, the discussion. The first is general picture of Laurie Kenyon. Laurie Kenyon is a 21 years old woman who suffers from multiple personalities as the effect of her unresolved childhood trauma. Laurie spends her childhood in Ridgewood, New Jersey, full of love and affection from her family. She is a friendly, cheerful, and outgoing social person. However, after the kidnapping, she seems to have a pressure caused by a child, like anxiety. Besides, she tends to avoid relationship and likes to be alone. It is because the effect of the experiences before. And Laurie grows up as a beautiful person and also has excellent grades. However, because she's being reclusive about her family and boyfriend, she is incapable of writing her personal memoir. One day, her parents died in a car accident, and she blames herself for it. She becomes apprehensive, and her multiple personalities that had been suppressed emerge up. Her alternate personalities are Debbie, a 4 years old girl, and Kate, a mature woman, Leona, a passionate woman, and Lee, a 9-year-old boy, which is the key to unlocking Laurie's unbearable memories of the lost year. Laurie does not realize the existence of her multiple personality, which is created to express her anxiety and guilt of the effect of her childhood trauma. It is shown that childhood trauma is a really hurt people and person itself. Second is about the development of Laurie's personality. The first is Laurie's childhood, by the Laurie's conflict with Big and Opal. The abductors, Big and Opal, treat her harshly. Whenever Laurie cries, Big and Opal always hit her and command her to stop crying. Not only that, they also locked Laurie in the basement and her phobia of darkness made things worse. The worst part of the abuse is that Big raped her and Laurie couldn't stop him even though she tries to struggle. Second is Laurie's association with other people or things around her. Laurie believes she is a troublemaker to her parent, so she is very affected by her parents' sudden death and blames herself for being the reason for it. Laurie's traumatic experience when she was kidnapped also make her afraid of men, making her unable to confess her feeling to Greg. Furthermore, the church song Amazing Grace is traumatizing because Big loved to sing that with her and later raped her. So she fainted after hearing Amazing Grace at her parents' funeral. Other things she is afraid of are herrings and chicken, which are also associated with Big and Opal. By this explanation, we can conclude that traumatic experience will give impact on person until they are adult because the traumatizing experience will not disappear easily. And Laurie's adulthood. Laurie's conflict with her altered personalities. Laurie's disability in dealing with the anxiety and guilty conscience make her suffer from personality disorder and neurotic symptoms, which are not in accordance with her personality structure. Psychologically, Laurie withdraws from the pain and fear, and the altered personalities come to help her. Referring to the multiple personalities she has, there are conflicts arising between Laurie herself and the alternate Kate, Debbie, Leona, and Lee. That is why the personalities of Debbie, a 4-year-old desperate, suppressed, and bewildered little girl who is abused and incarcerated, then is stored in Laurie's altered personality. Therefore, when Debbie's personality shows up, she does not even realize in such situation Debbie will appear as a little girl who represents Laurie's feeling. At the same time, when she is abused and raped, it can be seen from the way she calls her sister Sarah. When the detective found the murdering of her English professor, Dr. Alan Grant is interrogating Laurie. Next is Kate. This is altered personality usually comes out with arrogance and bullying attitude and dwells inside Laurie direct or tries to direct Laurie's action. However, Kate tries to shield either Laurie or Debbie by blocking Laurie's terrible memory. The personality of Leona is a wild, passionate, sexy, and irresistible woman appears as the effect of Laurie's disability in adjusting herself to the opposite sex, especially her boyfriend Kit Bennett. Leona is based on how Laurie wanted to be loved by a man, but on the other hand, she is also afraid of what is going to happen to her. Last but not least is Lee. He is created to protect and remind Laurie that it is absolutely forbidden for her to reveal her past experience, as the abductor once warned her not to mention the words big and awful in front of people, but in other ways they can bring misfortune to Laurie, considering that their existence are out of Laurie's consciousness. The next part is Laurie's multiple personality as the result of the childhood unresolved conflict and trauma. The first is Laurie's models of psyche. The general picture of Laurie Kenyon shows that her ID is so vague. It can be seen from the way she behaved to her sister Sarah and her boyfriend Greg Bennett. Laurie also creates Leona, a wild and sexy lady who can be interpreted as Laurie's part of personality that is not able to adjust herself to the opposite sex. Laurie's multiple personalities are actually not her real ego, as they are created as an escape from her traumatic experience. The next is Laurie's repression. In this case, the dream is in the form of her altered personalities in which their existence are beyond Laurie's consciousness. The third is Laurie's symbolic mother and father figures. After her parents' death, she tries to look for a figure that is able to give her love, shelter, and affection as well. In terms of symbolic mother figures, she chooses Sarah. We can see by this line, Laurie buried her face in her hands. Her hair fell forward. Sarah, oh, Sarah spun around. It was Laurie, but it was not Laurie in the chair. Her expression was different, childlike. The voice was that of a 3-year-old. That's how the toddler Laurie used to pronounce her name. I want my teddy. By this sentence, we know that she lacks of male role model and the figure of a father, and then she met her professor Alan Grant and finds a father figure in him. The last part is about conclusion and discussion about this article. Throughout this story, Laurie is taken into a certain direction that forces her to face a lot of conflicts, such as conflict with her childhood, conflict with other people or things around her, and conflict in Laurie's inner self with her altered personalities as well. The discussion of psychological review of Laurie Kenyon as the main character indicate that her childhood unresolved conflict, especially which deal with traumatic experience such as being kidnapped, abused, incarcerated, and raped at the age of 4, has made her grow up as a woman who is always obsessed by guilty conscience and anxiety. Thank you for the attention. I'm sorry for all the mistake. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.